Let me begin with a simple question. If you have a big house, a healthy bank account, and people around you, but you cannot sleep peacefully at night, are you truly rich? Most of our life we are trained to chase numbers, marks in school, salary in our job, balance in our bank account. But after 60, life changes the question. It no longer asks, how much do you have? It gently asks, how peacefully do you live? At that stage, success is not counted in currency, it is counted in calm breaths. Let me start with a small thought. If someone gives you a diamond, you protect it in a locker. If someone gives you gold, you hide it safely. But when life gives you time after 60, most people do not know what to do with it. They keep guarding money. They keep worrying about people. They keep repeating old stories. But life after 60 is not about protection. It is about preparation. Preparation for peace. For most of our years, we live in noise. Deadlines, responsibilities, competition, expectations. We wake up tired and sleep worried. We tell ourselves, one day I will rest. But when that day finally comes, we do not know how to be still. The body becomes slower. The mirror becomes more honest. The phone becomes quieter. And suddenly, a person meets himself for the first time. This is where wisdom begins. At this stage, money becomes useful, but not powerful. It can buy comfort, but it cannot buy deep sleep. It can arrange treatment, but it cannot arrange peace. A healthy body becomes more valuable than a heavy bank balance. A calm mind becomes more precious than a crowded house. A small walk in the morning feels richer than a big car in the garage. Simple food feels better than expensive taste. Silence feels safer than constant discussion. Then comes another realization. Many people wait their whole life to feel important, to be needed, to be praised. But after 60, life gives a beautiful lesson. You do not need to be useful to be valuable. Your presence itself becomes a gift. Your patience becomes a shelter. Your listening becomes medicine. You stop running to prove and start standing to inspire. Relationships remain important, yes. Family remains precious, of course. But when happiness depends completely on others, fear is always sitting next to joy. The heart must learn to sit with itself, not lonely but peaceful, not empty but complete. And then something deeper happens. A person starts asking questions that money never answered. Why did I come? Did I love enough? Did I forgive enough? Did I live or only survive? At that moment, success stories feel small, titles feel heavy, achievements feel temporary. Only one thing feels light. Connection. Connection with the breath. Connection with gratitude. Connection with something unseen yet deeply felt. A quiet prayer before sleep. A soft thank you in the morning. A gentle surrender of what cannot be controlled. This becomes strength, not the strength of muscles, but the strength of acceptance. And slowly, a person understands. Old age is not a decline, it is a return. A return to simplicity, a return to truth, a return to the self. So if life has given you years, do not spend them counting what you lost. Spend them realizing what you still have. Pre-awareness, memories, and this moment. Because when hands shake and steps slow down, but the heart remains soft and the mind remains kind, then age does not take anything away. It only removes what was never necessary. And what remains is enough. Let me share something simple. A young man once asked an old gardener, "What is the best time of your life?" The gardener smiled and said, "When I was young, I thought happiness was in becoming someone. When I grew older, I learned happiness is in becoming calm." Most of our life, we run. We run for degrees. We run for respect. We run for recognition. We collect achievements the way children collect toys, thinking more will make us complete. But after 60, life quietly changes its language. It stops speaking in numbers and starts speaking in feelings. At that age, the heart does not want applause. It wants peace. The body does not want luxury, it wants comfort. The mind does not want arguments, it wants silence. Money still has value, yes, but its voice becomes soft, health becomes loud. A single painless morning feels richer than a room full of gold. A peaceful night feels more precious than any celebration. People often say, family is everything. It is beautiful. But even the most loving family cannot sit inside your mind at night when worries visit you. Even the kindest people cannot breathe for you when your chest feels heavy. That is why inner strength becomes more important than outer support. Self-respect becomes more important than approval. A person who knows how to enjoy his own company never feels abandoned. He may sit alone, but he does not feel empty. Another change happens quietly. You stop chasing and start choosing. You choose conversations over crowds. You choose peace over pride. You choose understanding over winning. And slowly, bitterness leaves the heart. Forgiveness becomes easier. Silence becomes comfortable. Simple food tastes better. Then come the deeper questions. Not about success, but about meaning. Not how much did I earn, but how gently did I live. At this stage, a person understands something powerful. Life was never a race. It was a lesson. A lesson in patience, a lesson in love, a lesson in letting go. And in this quiet classroom of age, the greatest teacher appears: stillness. In stillness, you hear your own breath. In stillness, you remember forgotten prayers. In stillness, you realize that control was an illusion, but trust was always available. You begin to bow, not because you are weak, but because you are wise. You stop fighting the river and start floating with it. So when someone asks what truly matters after 60, the answer is simple. A body that allows you to walk without pain. A mind that allows you to sleep without fear. A heart that allows you to forgive without conditions. A sense of purpose that allows you to wake up with dignity. And a quiet faith that allows you to face the unknown without shaking. If you have these, you are richer than most people who are still chasing. Because in the end, life does not ask for your RA, it asks for your peace. It does not count your possessions. It feels your presence. And when the world slowly becomes quiet around you, may your inside become even quieter, not empty, but complete. One evening, an old clock stopped working in a quiet house. No one noticed immediately. There was no loud sound, no announcement, just a small silence where ticking used to live. Life after 60 feels a little like that. The noise slowly reduces, the rush slowly disappears, and in that space, something important begins to speak. For many years, we measure life by speed, how fast we grow, how fast we achieve. But age teaches a different mathematics. It teaches depth. At this stage, the body becomes a daily reminder, not of weakness, but of importance. A comfortable step becomes more valuable than a powerful title. A pain-free morning becomes richer than an expensive gift. Health turns from an option into a blessing. And the mind also asks for attention. It gets tired of carrying old arguments. It becomes heavy with unspoken regrets. So life gently suggests something radical. Put the burden down. Forgive, not because others deserve it, but because your heart does. Let go, not because the past was wrong, but because the present is precious. Peace becomes more practical than pride. Another lesson quietly appears. You stop introducing yourself with achievements. You start introducing yourself with kindness. Your worth is no longer measured by how many people depend on you, but by how many people feel calm around you. This is a beautiful promotion. From being important to being peaceful, family remains a gift, but wisdom whispers something honest. Do not make your entire breath dependent on another person. Love deeply, yes, but stand gently on your own feet. A heart that knows how to sit with itself never begs for attention. It offers presence. Then comes the most surprising change. Questions about profit slowly turn into questions about purpose. What did I give? What did I learn? Who did I become when no one was watching? At this stage, silence becomes a friend. Not the silence of loneliness, but the silence of understanding. In that silence, you discover something steady. A quiet trust. That not everything had to go your way to be meaningful. That not every loss was a punishment, some were protection. That not every delay was rejection, some were redirection. You begin to hold life with open hands, not tight fists, and in that posture, fear becomes smaller. Because when the future is uncertain, but the heart is anchored, uncertainty loses its power. So when people say, what do you really need after 60? The answer is not complicated. You need a body that allows movement, a mind that allows rest, a heart that allows forgiveness, a reason to wake up with dignity, and a quiet connection that reminds you that you are part of something larger than your worries. If these 5 stay with you, everything else becomes extra. And then one day, you realize, life did not take away your speed, it gave you direction. Life did not reduce your world, it simplified it. And in that simplicity, you finally see clearly. You were never meant to collect everything. You were meant to understand what truly matters. So when the clock of life slows its ticking, do not panic, listen. It is not ending, it is teaching you how to live lightly. A small boy once asked his grandfather, "Why do you walk so slowly?" The old man smiled and said, "Because now I finally have time to see where I am going." Most of our life is spent learning how to run. Run after goals, run after respect, run after security. We become experts at being busy, but beginners at being still. Then age arrives, not as a punishment, but as an invitation. An invitation to slow down, to listen more than speak, to feel more than prove. After 60, the body becomes honest. It no longer hides its tiredness. It no longer tolerates neglect. And suddenly, health becomes a daily prayer. A normal heartbeat feels like music. A painless morning feels like luxury. A good night's sleep feels like a miracle. Money can arrange comfort, yes, but it cannot command the body. So care becomes wealth. Peace becomes profit. Another change happens quietly inside the heart. The hunger to impress becomes smaller. The need to win becomes softer. You realize that being right is heavy, but being calm is light. You stop collecting arguments and start collecting moments. Moments of silence, moments of gratitude, moments of simple laughter. And slowly your identity changes. You are no longer known for what you achieved, but for how safe people feel around you. This is a rare kind of success. Family still matters deeply. Their voices warm the heart. Their presence gives meaning. But wisdom adds a gentle reminder. Do not build your entire sky on one cloud. People are meant to be loved, not leaned on completely. A heart that depends too much becomes afraid to breathe. A heart that stands gently on its own becomes fearless in love. Then come the questions that only silence can answer. Not how famous was I, not how powerful was I, but how kind was I when no one was watching? How patient was I when life said no? How grateful was I for small things? In these questions, something sacred is born, a soft connection with the invisible, a feeling that life was not random, that every delay, every loss, every tear carried a lesson. You stop demanding explanations and start trusting the process. You stop fighting the night and start appreciating the stars. So when someone says that after 60, money and even family are the most important things, smile gently. Because you know better. You know that what truly carries you forward is a body that still cooperates with you, a mind that knows how to rest, a heart that knows how to forgive, a reason to wake up that is deeper than routine, and a quiet faith that holds you when everything else feels uncertain. If you have these, you do not need much else. Because life was never about holding tightly. It was about learning to release gracefully. And when your steps become slow, may your awareness become sharp. When your voice becomes soft, may your presence become strong. And when the world becomes distant, may your inner world become your closest friend. That is not aging. That is arriving. So remember, money can buy medicine but not peace. Family can give love but not inner stability. After 60, life is not about collecting more. It is about becoming lighter. Lighter in anger, lighter in expectations, lighter in fear. Because when hands start to tremble and steps become slow, if your heart is still smiling quietly, then you have not aged, you have arrived at wisdom, at freedom, at real wealth.